Hi. So it's time for another Q&A with Jamie Day. And today I want to talk a little bit about my personal sort of theories, beliefs, and experiences surrounding Alzheimer's and dementia and the spiritual soul implications of that. And so to get into all of that, what I think first that I need to explain is sort of how I believe that reincarnation works a little bit, and the way that I believe sort of the elevation of the soul works. And I just want to also remind everybody that this is just my, this isn't like I haven't read this theory in a book anywhere. This isn't education that I've studied. This is my personal belief system based on my experiences as a full-time working medium. This is what I've experienced in readings. This is what I've experienced in my personal life surrounding the multiple people that I know that have passed of Alzheimer's and dementia related illnesses. It's been a huge part of my life. So I think that I speak from a lot of personal experience as well as mediumistic experience. And if this doesn't resonate with you, then that's fine. You can leave it. You don't have to agree with me. That's the beauty of life, is we get to kind of all have our different theories. And I actually sort of believe that it's true that whatever you believe in is what's true for you. So if this doesn't make sense to you, then maybe this won't be the experience that you have. Other than that, let me kind of share with you a little bit. I have the windows open, so it's probably a little bit loud. It's a beautiful day. But I live kind of on like a main street, like in Pet Cemetery, how the house, it's like a little farmhouse in Maine, but it's like on a road with big trucks that go by. That's my road. I moved to Maine, but I live on a busy road. So you might hear a lot of trucks. Okay, but anyway. ADD. So I think that it's important to understand sort of the reincarnation aspect, or maybe reincarnation is the wrong word here, but the way that our soul sort of transcends, right? So we come into this lifetime and we start a new life, and it is likely that we have lived past lives and had past experiences before. And to remind you, I've shared other videos about this, you can go back and watch, but to remind you, typically what we do is we look down at some options of lives and we say, yes, this one, I understand all the pain and suffering that will happen in this life, but I also know that this life will be most likely to help me meet my spiritual and personal growth goals. So I'm going to take this one even though I see that pain and suffering. And then we come down to life on earth, and we don't remember what happened before in our past lives, and we don't remember what happens up in heaven or on the other side or in spirit, however you want to call it. And there's a reason for this. And this has to do with the Alzheimer's and dementias. This part of it is the point that I'm trying to make. We don't get to remember what happens over there. I don't know what the reason is, but there's a reason for it. We don't get to really know fully what the experience is on the other side. We're made to forget it on purpose because we don't get to know that. That's not part of it. That's not part of our life. That is not part of the privilege we have in this human experience, is being able to vividly remember the other side the way that we can vividly remember things in our human reality. It's just not part of the experience. We're supposed to learn and grow and figure these things out ourselves, number one. Number two, we are supposed to be having the human experience, okay? We're supposed to be people on this earth living people-y things and doing people-y stuff and inhabiting people-y bodies and having people-y experiences, okay? We're supposed to be human. We're not supposed to be elevated spirit in this lifetime. We're human. We're supposed to be. And that's part of the reason that we don't get to remember. Now, my theory on people who have Alzheimer's and dementia is that it's sort of like a slow descent to the other side. Like they go and they spend a little bit more time over there and a little bit more time over there. Their body is still anchored here, and it's kind of like I hate to say it, it sounds so crass, but like lights on but nobody's home kind of scenario sometimes when Alzheimer's really progresses. And I think that for me, I really believe that part of that is because their soul is sort of, their spirit, I should say, is sort of up out of their body and like out here a little bit more than the regular average person's. That's why they seem a little bit vacant sometimes. And then when they do come back into their bodies and they're trying to speak to you, I think that they've got a problem with their memory, because that going back and forth thing really sort of is messing with the human memory, human connectedness to their body. One of the things that I know to be true that is that a lot of other mediums, so let me back up a little. I figured this out myself sort of by accident, because it was something that kept happening to me, where I would go to give a reading and I would start connecting with a spirit mediumistically, come to find out that spirit's still alive, but they have Alzheimer's. And doing some research on that, I've found that to be true for a lot of mediums. I've found that to be an experience that a lot of other mediums have had. I'm not talking about my students, per se. I'm talking about like longtime professional mediums agree that that's an experience that they've had. And so that's part of what helped me sort of form that opinion. And then because I've dealt with Alzheimer's so much in my own life, both of my dear grandparents, and a lot of other people that I was really, really close with, or were close to my family. And so I really was curious about that and asked my own guides and asked my own loved ones. And I've really sort of sought answers from within and from spirit. And this is sort of the solution that I've been given. And that is because when people get dementia or Alzheimer's, it's the reason that, the spiritual answer, because I believe, just to be clear, I believe in the blend of science and spirituality, right? Spiritual reasons can cause these legitimate scientific and medical things to happen, and vice versa. I think that our bodies and what happens to our bodies is fully tied into the mission of our souls. And so, for whatever reason, that Alzheimer's thing was part of the path that their soul chose before they came down to earth for one reason or another. And part of that is they've elected for their spirit to sort of be in and out towards the end of their life. And it starts off slow at first and it builds gradually over time until they end up, their body just gives out and they end up living fully in spirit. Conversely, right, and this is actually kind of coming in as I'm talking, perhaps maybe I have it a little bit backwards. Perhaps this is an option too. Perhaps they have this sort of illness that messes with their memory and it feels more comfortable to be in spirit. And so as they learn how to come and go, their spirit spending more and more time in spirit, maybe that's the gradual descent, is that they're sort of not consciously, but their spirit is making the decision like, my body may be hanging in there, but my mind is really starting to fail me and I'm not going to live that way. And so we're going to sort of elevate or leave. That being said, though, as I'm talking about it now, I really do feel like it's a mix of the two, right? Like we have this Alzheimer's condition, and then it's just exacerbated by the constant sort of coming and going of the spirit to the body because it messes with the memory, because we don't get to remember what it's like over on the other side. So I believe in the blend of science and spirituality that way. Another piece of evidence, I've done readings before where I've heard that the loved one with dementia, who was alive still, was like leaving and having lunch or having visits with the loved one in spirit, wife in this example, the loved one in spirit. And so even though their mind, their body, not their mind, sorry, even though their body was there still physically on earth, they would travel often to the spirit world, which is why, we had that kind of not real sure who I am or what I'm talking about thing here on earth. It's because their spirit was actually in heaven with their loved one. At least, for short stints at a time. So I've had lots of readings where that has come through, that something like that has come through as evidence to make me feel like that's probably pretty accurate. So that's my take on Alzheimer's and dementia and sort of what happens spiritually as we progress through that illness. Again, you don't have to necessarily agree with that. Maybe that resonates for you and you can let me know. Let me know if you have any other questions or things that you want to hear my spiritual take on, and I would love to share that with you. Take care and be well.